Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and welcome to an incredibly important and very special episode of Thrive. Because here with me in the studio, I have the unbelievable Shari Levitin. How you doing, Shari?
I'm doing great, Meredith. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays now.
Yeah.
And I understand that you have decided to stay here in the U.S., just letting go of a trip to South Africa.
Well, yes, I just couldn't think of a worse place to go. No, seriously, we had a safari booked for 3 years now, canceled it last year, obviously, because of COVID. And with the Omicron virus, we just thought, you know what? Probably not a great idea to be in a hospital in South Africa in the middle of a pandemic that started there. So anyway, yes, we will be here for the holidays.
Well, talk about uncertainty. We're having to
Yes, right?
change
Yeah.
plans at the last minute. You know, I did my last speaking engagement of 2021 this morning, and when I kicked it off, I was really talking about the fact of, wow, here we are 2 years in. Right.
Unbelievable.
And looking at a 2022 that looks more uncertain than ever. So, Shari, I'm going to hit the video. Then I want to pop back in here. And I've got so many questions that I want to ask you about what we really need to do to get prepared for 2022 and make 2022 rock. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Oops. All right, again, I'm Meridith Elliott Powell, and welcome. Welcome back to Thrive, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to really turn uncertainty into your competitive advantage. And I'm here with a sales guru and powerhouse and leadership expert, Shari Levitin. Welcome, Shari. Now, I want to start off by asking, what are some of the biggest challenges that you feel businesses are facing today?
Well, I think that you're right about uncertainty, and what we're hearing from our clients is this whole new hybrid world and everything that goes along with a hybrid world. And statistics are showing us that actually people can be much more productive in a hybrid environment. But reps and sales leaders aren't properly trained for this new world. And some of the statistics, I'll just give them to you. At the beginning of the pandemic, 90% of all sales conversations, no surprise, were occurring virtually. But here's what I find interesting. 86% of sellers prefer to work from home. In fact, would take a pay cut in order to work from home. And now what we're seeing is companies like Facebook, like Google, Dell, for example, have committed to this hybrid work world even after the pandemic. Because what they're finding is that the happiness quotient of their teams are much better. The collaboration can be just as good, but the productivity goes through the roof. The problem that people are facing right now is this idea of, okay, but what does that mean? As sales leaders, how do we keep our teams motivated? How do we keep them working without micromanaging them? How do we keep the culture great, but still give people space to get things done and work with their own biorhythms? How do we avoid distractions? It can be very difficult for sellers and sales leaders. And then there's the skill sets. And we've identified 4 to 6 major shifts that have to happen for sales reps selling in a hybrid world, and they're different. They're really different, what we need to do over a screen than what we would do face to face.
Well, you know, it's really interesting because right before we came on this, I was on a sales call with a client who was all ready to come back in live and, you know, in the office first of the year. Now they've decided that they're not even going to entertain any of their sales reps coming back into March. And people feel on the fence about it. You know, they'd like a little interaction, but they like basically working virtually. But what is it? What is, you know, you're the guru of selling virtually. I mean, my goodness, you've done a LinkedIn, you've done a course for LinkedIn, learning on it. I mean, you're really the expert. What are some of the things that we need to know and we need that are different when it comes to selling virtually?
Yeah, and I will preface this by saying that very often what we're finding as we're working with large enterprise sales teams is that maybe they were never good enough at these skills to begin with, but it becomes exacerbated when we're in a virtual world. So let's just talk about the basics of sales and then sort of the distinctions and the differences. I think first and foremost, we all know no trust, no sale. I always say trust is based on 5 components. I like to unpack things for sellers. I think it works better, and for managers so they can have a scorecard, right? But trust is built of 5 components: empathy, competency, reliability, integrity, and authenticity. But the order matters.
Okay.
Empathy gets you in the door. It's competency, reliability, integrity that keep you there long term. And one of the things that we're seeing is it's much more difficult to build trust across the screen. And we talked about that in the LinkedIn Live that I did, and that major reason we can't smell each other, which is kind of funny, right? But it is harder to build trust, particularly with cameras off. Sales leaders, here's a statistic, and this is mind-blowing. If cameras are off during a virtual sales call, you have an 82% chance that that customer is multitasking.
Wow. Oh, wait, say that percentage again.
82% chance.
Wow.
So here's again why this is so critical, right? So can you imagine going into a live sales call and a customer going, "Oh, excuse me," and they're like doing their taxes, answering emails, shampooing the dog, making something to eat. Like they never, like it would be rude, but but this is what's going on right now during your virtual calls when cameras are off. So I would say one thing, and this sounds simple, but if you're not doing it, it's advanced, right? And that is that when you even send the invite, so when you're confirming the sales call, you want to tell them this will be an interactive virtual call. Please be prepared to have your cameras on. And then I try to take the pressure off, even if you're having a bad hair day. I've even had clients send funny pictures of somebody's hair out to here, or, let's meet the rest of your family, and pictures of dogs and cats. So we want to really set the tone before we ever get on the call that this is a cameras on call.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, it's setting a bit of an agenda for it too, and letting people know what's going to happen and what's going to be there. But I want to back up, because I think one of the biggest challenges sellers are having today is, how do you get people to get on the call? Back in the day when we would all go to the Chamber of Commerce, or we'd go to the Rotary Club, and we could interact, or we'd even hit the trade show floor, right? And we could meet people, and then we could set up the call. What do you do in today's world to get that connection in the first place?
That's such a great question. And I'm going to repeat, I love Sally Cogshead, and she said a line once at National Speakers Association that stuck with me, and I quote her often. And she said, "You don't have to be better, but you do have to be different."
Yeah.
So really what's going on today, my brother's a neuroscientist. His name's Daniel Levitin. He studies the brain and information overload. And he gave me some statistics just the other day. I saw him in LA. We are so overloaded with information today. The average person takes in the equivalent of 175 newspapers worth of content per day.
Unbelievable.
YouTube alone, there are 1,500 YouTube videos uploaded every waking hour. So if we try to compete in the same way everybody else is, sending an email that's really boring, that's product focused, that's me focused, we are never going to get the attention of our buyer. And you're right. If you can't get the meeting in the first place, it doesn't matter how well you do during the virtual call. So this idea of how do you get people's attention? How do you stand out? How are you different? One of the things that we're teaching people is video, leveraging video, and this whole idea of omni-channel selling and marketing. And today, more than ever, we need to go where our customers are, right? So where are they? Well, they got this with them. Yesterday I went skiing. I feel so naughty. You know what I did?
Good for you.
Oh, it was so beautiful. So I live in Park City, and it was one of those 45-degree sunny bluebird days. It had just snowed. Not all the lifts are open, and it's a little crowded because it's Christmas, but it was gorgeous. And there's a product that I can't believe I didn't know about, but you can actually get earbuds into your ski helmet.
Oh, nice.
So I just realized you can actually take Zoom calls while you're skiing or while you're on the chairlift.
Yeah.
But the point is, we were talking about you don't have to be better, but you do have to be different. The reason I say that is that what we're finding is that by sending video, and going where people are, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here I am taking a call on video on a ski lift. So if you wanted to get my attention, if you just send me an email, that's not enough. Now, if you text me a video, and you personalize it, which is hugely important, I'm going to go, wow, that's different. So there's many ways of being different. I think video is hugely important. I think texting, social media, but I'm seeing a lot, and I know you're seeing a lot of just this spammy social media stuff.
Yeah.
So, we've really got to personalize our outreach just a little bit. My friend Beck Holland talks about personalization at scale, and she's got some great tips for this. And it might just be, hey, Meridith, I saw that you were out playing golf yesterday. I too love golf. One of the things, and then you've got to link it. You've got to go deeper.
Yeah.
If I just say, hey, I hear you like golf, but then I've got to link it to what we're doing. I see that you talk about competitive advantage here at Levitin Group. We too, but it's show me, you know me. I'm taking the time to be different, showing you I know you, personalizing, connecting what you're doing to our products and services, and using this omni-channel approach, whether it's video, whether it's texting, whether it's social media, whether it's all of the above. I have a really good friend who works for Salesforce, and she's so creative. She does all kinds of things right now during Christmas to her big target market clients. If she's trying to get 2 or 3 stakeholders on the phone, she may send one a bottle of champagne and the other 2 champagne glasses, saying we all need to come together. So it's
nice.
just the idea of it. And I don't know what's right for you, but what I do know is that if you send the obligatory spammy email or spammy LinkedIn message, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Do you know, so again, earlier today, I was on with a client. It's a presentation that I'm going to do in January. And we were talking about where they really want me to get into the nitty gritty. And I think this is so critical. They want me to actually showcase a sales call that is product focused versus one that is really strategic solving problem focused.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple of places where I think that sales professionals are making some mistakes today. Number one is still assuming that you're controlling the buying cycle, because you're not. Because the truth is, Shari, I can buy anything I want to, anywhere I want to, from anywhere I want to.
Yeah, that's right.
That little piece right there says how we sell has to be different, because like you said, empathy, I have to like you. I have to believe in you. I have to trust in you to want to buy you. The other is, I heard a CEO say, I don't need somebody to come in and ask me what keeps me up at night. I need somebody to come in, tell me what keeps me up at night and how the heck I can get a good night's sleep. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And this comes down to research and adding value to them right away. So if you're trying to get a meeting with somebody, why would a CEO take a meeting? And my pet peeve is these LinkedIn messages or these email messages that says, hi, I'd love to book a call and find out about you and your business. What value am I getting here? I'm sorry.
Right.
Rather than the true trusted advisor. Ladies and gentlemen, there's only 2 things you need to be a trusted advisor. Number 1, trust, but number 2, advice. If you have no advice to give, I can like you, but hey, let's face it, we've all got plenty of friends, the CEO, the CFO, the CMO. They don't need you to be their friend. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but they just don't. They've got friends that they don't even have time to see, and they have to wear masks to see. So I think the point is that we have to, one of the things that we're coaching people to do is to really understand trends in the market that you're selling into. So for an example, if I want to have a call with a CEO, I might say, hey, why don't we jump on a call? And I'd like to share with you 5 trends that are affecting your business right now and what you might want to do about it. So I've got to know. So let me give you an example. I sell virtual selling, right? And we sell, virtual selling masterclasses, keynotes, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm talking to a major account this afternoon, it's a prospecting call. And I got Amy on the phone by saying, hey, Amy, haven't talked to you in a while. Used to be a customer. I know the last time we talked was before the pandemic. There's 3 to 5 huge trends that are affecting businesses just like yours in the education space. I'd love to share with you what some of those trends are, what the implications are, and some of the actions you can take. It'll take you 15 minutes. I'm not even going to try to sell you anything. And I'm not.
Right.
I'm not, but I'm going to give her value. And guess what? The trends are virtual selling is here to stay. The other trend is only 16% of sellers show value in their virtual selling call. oh, by the way, if you don't have a virtual staff, you're never going to be able to recruit. So I'm creating a huge problem. I know what her problems are, even if she doesn't know them. Then she'll say, well, what do I do? And then I'm going to say, well, before I even say what I'm going to, here's the implications of this. Here's how much it can affect your business. And I'm going to monetize the pain. And then after I've monetized the pain, I'm going to say, now look, whether you hire us or not, and this is huge. I'm not going to push my product. And I call this being a helping brand. Whether you hire us or not, you need somebody to upskill your team to teach them how to do these 6 critical things in a hybrid virtual world. Well, can I hire you?
Right. Now they want to, right?
Huh?
So as we look at 2022,
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the most interesting things is we are in for more challenging times. It's fascinating to me that we're 2 years into this. And as I look into 2022, we not only have another strain of this virus, we have supply chain issues, we have inflation, we have who knows what's going to happen with interest rates. Will they or will they not raise them? Will Europe open up? Will Europe shut down? I mean, we don't know really what's coming, but I believe more than ever, I think the more uncertainty in the marketplace, I believe as salespeople, we are more essential than we've ever been. I mean, when our customers and prospects have problems, that's when they need us. So what are, I guess I want to know from you, what are some of the mistakes or missteps you feel that that salespeople are taking? And then I want you and I to talk about some ideas that we have for how they can turn those into strengths instead of weaknesses.
Yeah, I'd say the 5 biggest problems that I'm seeing in this hybrid world, and again, I'm going to stay on hybrid because this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we need as sellers and sales leaders. It's not a nice to have to learn how to function in this environment. We have to, whether you like it or not. We're here. So I would say I see 5 major mistakes. I always say 5 and then I make them up as I go. Meridith and I got to think what those 5. No, just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. Sometimes I do that. But I could distill.
I would believe
5.
that.
Pardon?
I would believe that.
Well, there's probably 25 major mistakes.
Right.
If I were going to distill into 5, I would say number 1, lack of planning and research. We're not doing our homework. When we were kids, our parents always said, do your homework, do your homework. You can't have your dessert until you do your homework. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, we can't have our dessert until we do our homework. We don't get the sale until we do our homework. And before you ever get on a call, virtual or otherwise, you really need to do your research. You need to know everything about that customer, and not just demographics, psychographics. What matters, not just about their company, but about what matters to them as a person. If they have a LinkedIn profile, my God, look up what they've posted, what they care about. Do they care about the Humane Society? Do they care about PETA? If they do, don't talk about this weekend you bagged an elk, like be smart, right?
Right.
And then you do want to look up firmographics. What's going on? A lot of companies, we're both speaking at the Zebra Summit. They've expanded by I think 24%. They're doing great. They're selling scanners. So you need to know that. You need to know that it's not, it actually for them, it's why should I keep going during boom times? So you need to really know your audience and do your homework. I'd say that's number 1. And you need to take the time to do that. And you can't have your calls, and this is for sales leaders, do not make your salespeople have back-to-back Zoom or Teams calls, because they need to process and plan for their next call and get all their data input from their last call. And so this is really important. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. The lack of research, it's embarrassing. You never want to go on a call. So where do you live? If you don't know, trigger events in the company, is this a new VP? Is that if it's somebody brand new, that's great. So I'd say research is number 1. I think the second mistake we're seeing virtual sellers make, and again, this sounds simple, but if you're not doing it, it's advanced, is just poor virtual presence. What is virtual presence? We need to establish virtual presence. That means I've got a LED light. It's taking away not all the imperfections in my skin, but it's going to make me look shinier, clearer. It's a better view. You don't want the customer to see a half face or a sun-drenched face. You really want to plan your environment It's not expensive. Get the right lighting, get the right microphone. It may look like I have a clean background behind me. You should see the rest of my office, but the customer doesn't see that.
Right.
I need to eliminate distractions, so that I'm in a quiet part of the house or the closet or wherever you are. So I would say that's number 2, is the failure to establish virtual presence, which is all part of trust. I would say number 3 mistake that I'm seeing in this environment is, not thinking about time and doing this sort of pre-call plan, if you will. Time is fluid when you're face to face. So if I come into your office and we have a sales call, and that 15 minutes can turn into 45, that can turn into 2 hours. You're bringing in other stakeholders. We're having lunch, playing golf. If you start to like me, that meeting can expand. This doesn't really happen virtually. We've sort of got this,
so true.
like if you go to Zoom, you can only book 30 and 60-minute increments. So people have so as sellers and managers, we have to help our sellers pre-call plan that, what are you going to do? You've got half an hour. And I'll tell you what you don't do. And this is the big mistake. The customer starts controlling the conversation. And I have it happen all the time. The customer will come in and say, I know we booked half an hour or an hour, but I only have 10 minutes. Can you just get to price and show me your product? No.
Right.
No, you don't be a product pleaser. I joke, we've got a new Labrador named Remington. Remy, he's a 1.5 years old. I don't know if any animal lovers do this, but I take on the voice of my dog. So I have conversations with my husband through my dog. I channel, yes, daddy. Yes, daddy. Oh, daddy, I love you. You have such good ideas. Good idea, daddy. Yes, let's go for a walk. What a good idea. Watch TV. Good idea, right? Like everything is a good idea for a Labrador. They just love it. That's why we love them, right? They love everything about us. Well, I think salespeople turn into Labradors when they're selling virtually. Oh, yes, client. Good idea. Good idea. Oh, yes, I'll send you a proposal. Oh, yes, I'll send you pricing. Oh, yes, I will cut my sales process short. Oh, good idea. Good idea. No, don't be a Labrador is what I can tell you. So we've got to still, if you get cut short, you don't go to product and pricing. You still build rapport and do you ask, what made you decide to meet with us? What are you looking to achieve? You just start into discovery, but you don't get into pricing because otherwise you become commoditized. And
absolutely. I think, Thomas put in research, lighting, time your pitch. It's so critical. I mean, basically what Shari's telling you is control that conversation. So if Shari gets on here and tells me she only has 10 minutes, I say, absolutely. I want to be respectful of your time. We'll talk about a couple of things, then we'll just schedule another call to follow up. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to take it any further. Thomas also wants to know, Shari, what dog do you think really does make a good salesperson? If you don't want to be a Labrador, who do you want to be? Great question, Thomas.
Okay,
I love
Thomas,
it.
this is the best question I think I've ever had.
I think so too. I think Thomas, you win.
I think we've got to be 2 dogs.
Okay.
I think we've got to combine our inner Labrador with our bulldog. It's both. So it's when am I a bulldog and when am I a Labrador? And that's the challenge of this is what my book's about, right? It's heart and sell. When do I have heart? When am I accommodating? When am I an accommodating Labrador? And when do I say, in order to give you the best possible service, here's how we work.
Yeah. And I think that's so, I really do think that is so important. I was working with a sales team last week and I think they're a little too Labrador. And the problem is that the customer never has confidence in you. No. And if they don't, and in times of uncertainty, you have got to realize they're looking for somebody to pick up this part of the job and run with it. They got enough on their plate. They don't need somebody who's like lackadaisical and okay, whatever you think. No, I need to be able to say to Shari, I need this problem solved. And if she can tell me she can run with it, then I'm confident in that.
It's a trusted advisor. This is the advice part. Here's how I would do it. So yeah, I would say do you want me to go into the other 2
yes, please.
Short on time? I would say, we're talking about biggest mistakes that hybrid/virtual sellers make. I'd say number 4, we're just boring.
Yeah.
Like so boring because we think that because we're online, we've just got to sort of give them the 25-minute pitch. without any interaction. One of the things that we teach, that little plug for the masterclass we're doing that's coming up, is that we're going to actually show leaders and sellers how to leverage Zoom and Teams and different types of software in order to make these really interactive, dynamic meetings, whether you're training your salespeople or leading a sales call. And how do I use chat in my sales calls? How do I use polling with multiple stakeholders in different locations to uncover possible objections and concerns? We were working with one company in the tech space, and one of the guys said, "Oh my God, I hope we never go back to face-to-face. I'm getting real feedback."
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the biggest concern you have in implementing this new software? Yet now I've got people on an anonymous poll. I'm getting real information, but you've got to know how to leverage this, how to set it up, how to use the 5 senses. So when we talk about not being boring, you can use all 5. Again, my friend Karen Keating, who works for Salesforce, she'll literally send playlists. She will literally send coffee and, maybe bagels or something. If it's a big sales call, depending, you got to judge that and use all the senses. But the more senses we use, the more emotion we create, the more customer experience we create, which, oh, by the way, 58% of customers will switch brands for a better customer experience. So what is the experience of doing business with us? So that's number 4, is we're just plain boring, not telling stories, not good at that. And number 5, and boy, talk about a cardinal sin, we don't follow up.
Oh, that's my big one. The sale happens in the follow-up.
At the end of the meeting,
the follow-up.
we run out of time. And I hear sellers go, "Okay, well, we'll coordinate back and get with the CFO. I'll get back to you." And then they go into a bottomless pit. We wonder why. As cliche as it is, have a meeting, book a meeting, ham, bam. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you get cut short. You better save 2-3 minutes to get on calendars and book that next meeting now. Do not play chase game, or again, you're like a Labrador trying to get the stick.
Yeah, no kidding. And follow-up should never be anybody else's responsibility than you. I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I felt it was like dating. If I had to wait on guys to call me, I'd still be sitting here single.
Meridith, somehow I don't believe that about you.
About that. All right. So this is what Shari said. And I want to get into, I cannot believe we have been going at this almost 30 minutes. And in all honesty, Shari, we have scratched the surface of everything that we have to tell, that we have to talk about when it comes to sales. She has covered the 5 big cardinal sins. What we don't have time to talk about and what we're going to get into in our masterclass are the solutions to those sins. So lack of research, poor virtual presence, lack of agenda pre-call planning. You are just plain boring and you don't follow up. Shari, I want to talk a moment about the masterclass that you and I are going to be doing together. I am so excited about this because I can't think of, honestly, a better duo to be teaming up together to really cover what you need to be doing to sell in 2022. And I don't know a better year where you are more essential. And everything that Shari just talked about, listen, very few people are doing this correctly. This is why Shari is in such strong demand. You want to be on the side of the few that are getting this correct, because this is where your competitive advantage is. So Shari, tell me about the masterclass that you and I are teaming up for.
Oh, this is so cool. We've been sort of on our own tracks, but working, we're out there doing keynotes and kickoffs all the time. And we're doing master classes and trainings from our homes and some live. And, we just decided that we both bring something very different and very critical to the table. So that's why we decided to team up. Plus, we just plain like each other and like doing stuff together. But Meridith, what I'm excited about, what you bring, is this new book. When I heard your keynote, that you charge a pretty penny for, I also happen to know because I've referred you into clients. I know that, but it's worth it. My God, they're saying that that's like the best session they've ever had. Like really, like that's what I'm hearing about your keynotes. Is you're talking about, you've done so much research into companies and how to thrive in uncertainty. So you're giving us real data. I'll let you speak to more to what you're doing. The section that I'm doing is really drilling down into the practical and the tactical. Yeah. And whether you're a sales leader or a salesperson that wants to be a leader, wants to be a top seller, this is all about, my section is going to be all about how to adapt to this new hybrid world. And what are the 4 major adaptations that we're going to be talking about? Adapting the way you work and how you do that and how you position yourself, adapting the way that you ask questions in a hybrid world, adapting how you show value. Value is very different today. Again, standing above the noise is quite different, and how you engage so that you're not boring. We're going to be giving workbooks, follow-up materials. I mean, the value that people are getting out of this is a little bit crazy, right? So it's going to be a half-day event, and with a night before. We decided to do a happy hour the night before.
Yeah, this
so
is it is. It's just it is one event you don't want to miss. Here's the way we're going to set it up. We're doing a half day, January 20th, a night before, to get on, build community connection, total time to ask questions. You're going to walk away with our best material, our best workbooks. I'm going to do the high level, like Shari mentioned, really the research. And I like to think of it as the why. I mean, if you're truly going to make change, you got to intrinsically understand the why. And again, one of the biggest challenges I see is salespeople are making this so much harder than it has to be. If you understand the way that the uncertainty is impacting the marketplace, the way that it's impacting the buying cycle, and the way that it's impacting your customers and prospects, it opens the door for the tactics that Shari's going to give you. I mean, together, it is this full circle picture. And I don't think it is training you find anywhere else. Thomas wants to know if our training is going to be recorded.
The training, no, you've got to be there live. I mean, the whole thing about what we're doing, and this is really critical, is that I learned the saying once from my friend Eric Chester: there's just as much, if not more, knowledge in front of me than it is in front of you. And we say that because one of the powers of a masterclass is you're interacting and networking with other people at your level. So we can't really record. We're going to be in Zoom rooms. We're going to be doing this and that. And we also want the people that are there, that have paid the money, that are in the actual class, to get the benefit to be vulnerable and to ask questions and to talk about things that they're dealing with. And one of the things that we found when we do these classes with all different types of people from different companies is you're going to make lifelong connections, and very important connections, because we are limiting it. Aren't we just limiting it?
Yeah, we are limiting it.
So that the Zoom rooms are more powerful. And I also want to say, we are also limiting it to only 3 people per company.
Yeah.
Just so that we have enough diversity and enough different people. So if you're a sales leader and you want to have 8, 10 sales leaders, sorry, we're only going to limit to 3 per company.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you can find out about the master class. Go to ShariLevitin.com, Thrive Masterclass. Right now, today, we're running a $699 early bird special. Can you hear my dog going crazy in the background?
He loves it.
Yeah,
that's no Labrador.
He is so pumped. He is yelling at me because he is saying, Shari and Meridith, I can't believe you are offering this for only $699. He thinks we need to charge more.
Well, we are. We're going to charge more once January hits. So I always say, look, there's so many things that we can buy ourselves and buy each other for the holidays, and you ought to. But really, this is the gift of knowledge. And so whether it's for you or a loved one, there is no better way to survive and thrive than to gain knowledge and to gain competitive advantage. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to set you up. This $699, if it doesn't pay itself back tenfold, 20-fold, I would be shocked. The returns we're seeing from people going through our master classes, they're instant. Every KPI is going up. We're seeing increased win rate, increased sales cycle, increased number of logos and appointments, not increased sales cycle, decreased sales cycle, excuse me, shorter sales cycles, but really giving you the knowledge you need to have a competitive advantage from everybody else right now to really stand out.
Yeah, I also want to say that these are the same strategies Shari and I use in our own businesses. I mean, so what we're doing is giving you the knowledge that we use in our own companies to help our own companies boom. We do the research, we do the studies, we apply them to our own businesses, and this is what makes things rock and roll. Mark, I am so glad you hung out with Mark and I first thing this morning, and you are back for Shari and I this afternoon. I do want to say too, though, Shari said return on investment, $699 early bird special, limited seating. This is less than one sale in most businesses that you have to make. And again, I do not believe Shari and I are on a lot of stages. I do not hear her messaging or her content anywhere. I do not hear my messaging or my content anyway. People are giving you sales strategies that have been used over and over again. We've gone in with innovative new things. So
and
true,
what
right?
worked 3 years ago isn't working today.
It is not.
It's old. If it's 2 years ago, retire it.
Yeah. I could not. That's why we're on the same. That's why we're on the same page in the same wavelength. But I hear that over and over again, and that's why the setup of the masterclass. It's why you need to understand the big concept about how the buying cycle has changed, and that's why you need the tactics.
You need to pick up your doggy because he wants.
Well, my husband just went outside, and so he's very upset about that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, all right. We have gone over time as we always do because Shari and I have so much to talk about. There's the link for the masterclass. Also reach out with questions and things like that. Shari and I will be back with another live episode. I'm just volunteering her for that because we love to jump on and we have so much to talk about. For now, I want to tell everybody to have an incredible, happy holiday. But January 20th, you need to mark your calendar now and you need to join us in this masterclass. You will not be sorry because Shari, it is the gift of what?
The gift of knowledge.
Absolutely.
What better gift is there? The gift of knowledge, the gift of success.
Absolutely. All right. We hope everybody has a great holiday season. We'll see you back here after the first of the year. And together, we are going to turn all of this uncertainty into your greatest competitive advantage. And 2022 is going to be your year. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Can't find my arrow to shut the broadcast down. We might just be on here live for a while, Shari.
For a long time, Meridith.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
It happens.
Yeah, literally. I don't know what happened to my arrow. So my little thing is not my little. Maybe the battery's out in my.
What if you just close down LinkedIn completely?
I know, but I can't even get an arrow on the LinkedIn to shut it down.
Here it says leave studio. I could leave, but then I'd be leaving you all alone.
That's all right. Go ahead and leave the studio.
See, at the bottom, it says leave studio. They're going to just get more Meridith.
I know. That's all right. I'm going to take it out right now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Buddy, you all right?
Starting to see some of that on its own, and we think that it peaked probably this quarter and will likely trend lower next year anyway.
So last week's Fed watchers on one side all agreed there's going to be an avalanche of rate hikes over the next couple of years. But on the other side, the bond and the stock market, well, they really couldn't figure it out, right? I mean, but there's certainly almost an opposite reaction. So how do you invest? How are you handling this sort of confusion? On one, you got all these stocks pointed at higher rates. On the other part, you've got cyclical names getting hammered where growth actually looks a little bit better.
Yeah, if I always have, if there's a divergence between the bond market and the stock market, granted I'm a former bond trader, I would say I'm going to go with the bond market. One, it's about twice the size of the stock market, and two, it's dominated by institutional investors. And it's very easy to kind of project out what the forecast is. What they're saying is inflation is going to trend below 2.5% or so by year end. And then growth is rolling over and will likely trend back to 3% by the end of the year. And the one puzzle piece that doesn't seem to make sense is that the bond market is still calling for 3 rate hikes next year. That may not be the case. And that should be greeted with news by the equity investors once they realize it.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of little names like Snow and some of these others already make nice intraday reversals in today's session. I got to listen to them go, you do the proverbial stair steps up, elevator down. Have you begun to look at some of these values, or in your mind, are any great values been developing right now in this market?
Yeah, the interesting thing is quality companies are on sale. Everyone wanted the junkiest companies, the highly leveraged companies, those that perhaps leveraged to the reopening trade on the way up. And it's left a lot of the highest quality dividend-paying companies to hide. And so this was a great opportunity to pick up some real quality names, high dividend payers, good balance sheets that have the possibility of passing along these increases in prices along to their customers. So I think quality large cap, quality small cap, in fact, we're developing an international quality strategy as well.
All right. And also, I think we'll do that other thing. Let you sleep at night. Jack, thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Charles.
President Biden will address the nation tomorrow as the COVID cases continue to spike and probably will start to spike even at a faster rate. Meanwhile, I want your opinion on the federal government, how they have responded to the former. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tweet me at TV Pain. I'll try to squeeze a few before the show's over. Also, the pandemic started an anti-work revolution. Carl Ross is going to give us her take on how this all ends. I got to answer that well.
What's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? Jackson. What's wrong, huh? What's wrong, baby? Huh?
Man, that looks like a big job to me. Looks like a huge job. Look, they gotta dig all that out and put that thing in the ground. Alex said y'all are gonna redo the lights too. Good.
He was all over my podcast.
Oh, the barging?
Yeah.
Careful what you ask for, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I got another guy coming now.
Hmm?
I got Tyler with Dent away coming too. Ugh.